Hey, what's going on there, guys? Nick here from Absolute MTG, and I'm back with another deck tech for you. Today we're going to be taking a look at a budget deck for black-red Minotaurs, and this is probably one of the most requested decks that we've had in quite some time here on the channel. A lot of people wanted to see it, and it's actually a really fun archetype that Theros and Born of the Gods have inspired in players. So Greg, Dan, and I sat down whenever the outpour of requests for Black-Red Minotaurs started coming in, and we were putting things together, but we finally finished things up and have a list that we are pretty much just proud of. So the entire deck list is in the description below, and there's a deck list via TappedOut.net that you guys can check out in the description below as well. But let's take a look at Black-Red Minotaurs that won't break the bank. So all this stuff's pretty easy to find, the cards are pretty cheap, and it's really easy to make substitutions for more expensive things. So first off, we have Deathbellow Raider. So he's our 2/3 for 2 mana, and he attacks each turn if able, and for 3 mana we can regenerate him. So the only downside to him is that he has to attack. But of course we can regenerate him if we can't do anything else, and he does get bigger based on the lords that we have in our deck that are going to pump him up. We have Minotaur Skullcleaver, and he is our 2/2 for 3 with haste. And whenever he enters the battlefield, he's going to get +2/+0 until the end of the turn, making him a 4/2 creature the turn he comes out. But otherwise, he's going to be swinging for 2 on future turns, unless we have some way of making him bigger. So Minotaur Skullcleaver is another easy way to get in some sizable damage, and he's one of my favorite cards from Theros Limited. We have Kragma Butcher, so 2/3 for 3 with Inspired, and whenever he becomes untapped, he's going to get +2/+0. So the more we keep on swinging in with him, the more consistently he's going to be a 4/3 creature for us that's just going to bash. We have Rageblood Shaman as a 4/of. So 2/3 for 3 mana Trample, and other Minotaurs you control have +1/+1 and have Trample. So making our 4 power creatures into 5 power creatures, but now they have Trample as well. So if our opponent's blocking with any smaller things, then we're instantly able to get over them and deal some damage directly to them. So Rageblood Shaman is probably one of our big centerpieces for this deck that just kind of makes things come together for us. We have Ragemonger, which is going to make Minotaur spells that we cast cost 1 black and 1 red less to cast out of the colored mana. But otherwise, he's a 2/3 creature for 3 mana for us. So the Ragemonger is going to make a lot of different things cheaper. He's going to make all of our Minotaurs that have red symbols cost 1 red less, and in the case of our Kragma Warcaller, it's going to make him cost 1 red and 1 black less, but otherwise it doesn't reduce other costs. And another thing to remember is that Ragemonger is only going to dwindle down the cost of actually casting a card. It's not going to affect devotion or a card's converted mana cost or anything like that once it's on the battlefield. I say this because we're playing Fanatic of Mogis in this deck, so he's our Minotaur Shaman 4/2 creature for 4, and whenever he enters the battlefield, he's going to deal damage to each opponent equal to our devotion to red. Now, if you guys have the money to splurge on cards like Boros Reckoner, which is also a really awesome Minotaur for this type of a deck, then you can capitalize a little bit more on playing Fanatic of Mogis, but otherwise, he still is going to pack a pretty decent punch in dealing devotion damage. So him on his own, he's just a 4/2 creature that's going to be able to swing in each turn, but being able to burn out our opponent for anywhere from like 4 or more damage per Fanatic of Mogis that we play is pretty nice. So we have 4 Fanatic. And then we have our Kragma Warcaller, which is a 2/of. So all of the rest of the creatures that we have were 4/ofs, and Kragma Warcaller is pretty much the only 2/of that we have in creatures. So he's a 2/3 for 5, and there's kind of this theme with 2/3 power creatures, or power and toughness creatures with Minotaurs, but 2/3 for 5, and Minotaurs we control have haste, and whenever a Minotaur that we control attacks, it gets +2/+0 until the end of the turn. So it's another sizable way to smash our opponents if they don't have a way of dealing with our Minotaurs or blocking them or anything like that. So now for our non-creature spells, we have 4 Lightning Strike that are going to deal 3 damage to target creature or player. We have 2 Searing Blood, which is going to deal 2 damage to target creature, and then when that creature dies this turn, Searing Blood is going to deal 3 damage to that creature's controller. So Searing Blood's awesome for other aggro decks and other small creatures that our opponents may have. If they're trying to use them as blockers, we can use Searing Blood to get rid of them, and it also is going to Lightning Bolt our opponent as well, which is definitely a nice thing to be able to have. And we have 2 more Searing Bloods in the sideboard for the aggro decks. I have 2 Doomblades, so destroy target non-black creature. Good for a lot of different decks, mainly if you're playing against like an all-black deck, then it's a card that you probably want to side out because it's not really going to do much for you. So 2 Doomblade and then 2 Ultimate Price, so destroy target monocolored creatures. So good up against a lot of different creatures that are in standard right now, but again, if you see decks that Ultimate Price really can't do anything with their creatures, then just side it out and try to find something that's a little bit more appropriate. For the land base, we have 4 Rakdos Guildgates to give us our dual land here. Of course, you can play Temple of Malice, that is in Born of the Gods. You can also play Blood Crypt, that was in Return to Ravnica, but it's all just a matter of finding cheap substitutions for things. And if you guys have the money to splurge on more expensive stuff, then go for it. For our basic lands, we're running 15 mountains, and then we are running 5 swamps, giving us 9 sources of black total between our dual lands and our basic swamps. So pretty much the right amount that we have, that we want to have between having things in our main board that are black, and also the substitutions that we can make between games 1 and games 2 and 3 for the other black cards that we have in our sideboard. So for our sideboard, we have 3 Skullcrack. So Skullcrack is going to make it so that players can't gain life this turn, and damage can't be prevented this turn either, but it's going to deal 3 damage to the target player. So Skullcrack is useful up against cards like Great Merchant of Asphodel and Sphinx's Revelation, just so that our opponent can't get a huge momentum boost and can pretty much counteract everything that we've been trying to do with our Minotaurs. So Skullcrack's the easy way to prevent any life gain type of cards. We have 2 more Searing Blood for the aggro type matchup, so if our opponent is trying to play a lot of really small creatures and just trying to overwhelm us earlier than we can overwhelm them, we can play Searing Blood and we can get rid of one of their creatures that has 2 power or less, and we can also deal 3 to them. So Searing Blood is awesome for that. We have 4 Dark Betrayal, so this is up against the Mono Black decks. So if Mono Black is a big thing for you, then Dark Betrayal is definitely something to have as a 4-of in your sideboard. If you don't see as much Mono Black, then Dark Betrayal can be adjusted so that you're not running 4 copies of it. But otherwise, Mono Black is it's a pretty annoying deck, and you want to have ways to be able to deal with it. So Dark Betrayal as a 4-of is probably the most appropriate thing to just put in the sideboard as kind of like a stock option. So we have destroy target black creature for just 1 black mana. We have 2 Doomblade, so another way to get rid of non-black creatures, and if our opponent's playing non-black creatures, we definitely want to side in more Doomblade so that we have that full play set to hit anything that they're trying to run. And then we have Duress, so we have a playset of Duress for the decks that are running a lot of non-creature spells, so things like mid-range and control as well, where we get to look at their hand and take a non-creature, non-land card from it, and they have to discard it. So that is our deck tech for Black-Red Minotaurs as a budget deck that won't absolutely empty out your wallet. Again, the entire deck list is down in the description below where you guys can check it out. If you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate it if you thumbs up the video and check out our social media links down in the description below. We have our Facebook page and Twitter page and some other cool stuff down there as well, including our SoundCloud where we do podcasts. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video and would like to see more Magic the Gathering content, you can hit the subscribe button on the screen and you'll be notified whenever a new video is available. And for those of you guys that enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh!, you can check out my Yu-Gi-Oh! Channel by clicking on the video in the top right hand corner. Also, be sure to check out our sponsors for the channel, ABU Games and Europe's MTG Madness, for all of your Magic the Gathering needs, no matter where you are.